Hello and welcome to Critical Conversations. I am your host, Karissa Dean, and today I'm really excited to dive into a conversation around entrepreneurship, female founders, and female executives who are leaders in the workplace. And the other thing I want to also just side note here, moms, women of the household, or persons of the household, I'll even be more inclusive here. You are, in a way, your own boss, entrepreneur, and CEO, because the thing that I know to be true is that running a household is work. So I just want to give credit, high five to those of you who are in the leadership role within your home. And you're really cultivating a space where people can thrive within your home, even if it's just you, or maybe yourself and another partner, or maybe you have kids or animals. But, being an adult and having a home, you are a boss, you are a CEO, and you are leading. So this conversation is specifically honed in for those who are leading groups and dynamic individuals, whether that is a business that you founded and started yourself, whether you have employees or not, whether you are in a executive position where you are leading teams or individuals in a larger corporation or a smaller corporation, but you are ultimately higher up on that pillar, and you have people or individuals looking up to you. So this conversation is for executives and entrepreneurs, and I want you to lean in, and I want you to really stick with me through this, because there is so much power in the way in which we show up as leaders. And even if you don't have employees, there is a way that you are leading with your clients and customers that matters. And so I want to talk to you guys about a group that I created. It's called The Hub. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe not. But I essentially created this group about a year ago when I realized there was a gap within my one-on-one clients and for myself as an entrepreneur and founder. There are so many women in business who are misguided through the books, through the podcasts, through the master classes, and a lot of the information might not pertain to you. And a lot of the information might not be accessible or helpful. And so I started to get really curious about what the gap was that I was feeling as an entrepreneur. And then I started really listening to my clients. What was the gap that they were feeling? And the thing is that just kept coming back was that we need community. We need a community, but we need a community of like-minded individuals who are kind of on the same path. Doesn't necessarily mean we have the same why or the same mission or we're in the same industry, but that we need a place to go to feel validated, to feel like we can get feedback that is curated to us and what we're specifically involved in. And we needed a place to learn how to do business better, to learn how to do business the way that we as females want to run business. There's a ton of business books out there. I've read almost all of them. I continue to read. I'm kind of on a standard of one book a week right now, and I'm mixing it up between, a spiritual book, either a, biography or learning about someone's life through a memoir, and then also business books. So the funny thing about business books is they're all pretty much written. I mean, the majority, I would go as far to say like somewhere in between 70 and 80% of the books that I find that are recommended to me through Audible or through, at my local library. I still go to the library, yes, because I love to just see what's out there. It's men, it's white men. And white men do business very differently than I think most female entrepreneurs and executives want to run business now. There is I do think that there is a shift that's happening, which I'm excited about. I think there are more men who are leading with a little bit more feminine. But historically speaking, women being in the workplace is kind of a new concept. And so we don't have all the information and data to run and operate businesses the way that maybe our brains and our hearts are hardwired right now in this present moment, telling us that we want to run and operate business. So I created this group. I called it the Hub. And the concept is that women can come together and you plug in to this battery life force. And the life force is the community of women who are like, okay, I read this book and I tried this thing that was recommended in this book, or I, took my husband's advice, or I took my dad's advice, or I took my brother's advice, or whoever, but I took somebody else's advice and I tried it and it didn't work for me. And so it's really about coming together to validate, to give permission, to understand, and to try to do business authentically from who we are as women, as feminine beings in the world who are here to really create and do things differently. And so I created this community. It is the most amazing space. And the interesting thing is over the last 2 months, I've noticed that there are more women networking groups. And I want to talk about one. I think that that's amazing. I'm so excited to see that there are more opportunities for not only online groups, but in-person groups. But I think my group is different. And I want to talk about why you need to get in the Hub. It's because it's really a cultivation of growth. My goal is that every woman who joins the Hub, who joins the conversation, who joins the group, is really being motivated and empowered to design life and business their unique way. They're really granted permission through the collaboration of us all being connected and being like, yeah, I'm doing that too. Or here's what I tried. It didn't work for me. Oh, but I think that might work for you. Or this is the advice somebody gave me. I didn't use it, but maybe it'll work for you. It's in this sacred space where we're really connecting and communicating differently, where we're really uplifting each other, where we're looking at the systems and the structures, and we're really giving real-time feedback about how to grow, how to scale, how to create harmony. How are you growing your email marketing list? How are you showing up on social media? Who did you hire? Who's your attorney? Who's your accountant? My accountant said this. So it's like this hub. We're plugging in, we're giving permission for you to get curious about how to do business your way. And this space is so safe because I've watched the women who are in it over the last year connect with each other and also connect each other to their networks. So I've been to hundreds of networking events, and I have never experienced anything like this group. And I just love it so much. And I want as many women to jump into it as possible. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how it's actually structured. So we meet monthly on the second Wednesday of every month at 9:15 Pacific Standard Time. That time was chosen because I know the first of the month can be a little bit challenging. So that second week felt like a little less of a heavy lift. Usually you're not doing payroll and things on Wednesdays. Some people do, but most people can really look ahead in their calendar and be like, okay, the second Wednesday of every month at 9:15 Pacific Standard is when I'm going to jump on the hub. I'm going to plug myself in. I'm going to charge my battery up. And then I'm going to go kick ass. And I'm going to come back next month. I'm going to be held accountable to certain things, certain tasks, certain goals. I'm going to connect myself to other people, and other people are going to connect me to their people. So I chose it very intentionally. 9:15 Pacific is it's a little stretch for those of you who are on the Pacific time zone, but a lot of East Coast people, like, that's noon. Sit down, have lunch with us. Like, we don't care. Turn your camera off if you don't want to eat in front of the camera. But we're meeting every month. And most months, I'm leading, and we're diving into what's working in your business, what's not working, what are your asks of the group, what do you need support around, what do you need accountability with. We're like diving in, we're problem solving. There is a little bit of coaching that happens in those moments. An example is, somebody was like just feeling, a couple months ago, somebody new joined, and they were really just feeling like bogged down by the noise and the details of everything around them. And they were like, I just don't know how to go forward. And it took a moment for us to just pause and be like, why did you start your business? Let's get you really fueled up and fired up by your why. And there's something different about sharing your why in a community versus like sitting down, pen to paper by myself. Like, I can do that, right? I can be like, this is my why. But when you have feedback from 5, 10, my goal is to get 100 women in here. But if you're getting live feedback from other people in the moment who are like, actually, Sally, I see you and I see you doing this. And you're like, oh, I didn't even see my business as doing that. So you're growing in community, and you're getting inspiration from people who get to know you. So that's happening every week. We're checking in one-on-one. And then I'm either leading a lesson about something that I'm reading or studying, or a course I just took, or a real life experience I had in a different business, or maybe even within my coaching business. And on the other months, I'm bringing in experts. So in the lineup coming up, we have a branding specialist coming in for May who's going to talk about branding. We have a financial guru who's going to come in. I think she's scheduled for July. She's going to come in and give us tons of advice around, how to get out of debt, how to navigate debt, all those types of conversations that is normal for an entrepreneur. And we should be talking about that. And you should be getting real-time advice. And, I've read a ton of books about money, and I have tons of feedback and support and things that I've done and things that have worked and things that didn't work. But ultimately, we're having conversations that you need to be having as an entrepreneur, but you need to be having them in an entrepreneurial space or an executive space. So, I'm looking to bring on an attorney. I'm looking to bring on an accountant. I've had in the past, we've had social media experts come on. We've had SEO and email marketing experts come on. You guys tell me what it is that you're looking to improve in your business, and I go out and I find that expert to come in and present and say, look, here's what we're seeing in the industry. Here's how I support my people. Here are 3 hot tips that you get to walk away with and try to implement in your business. So a lot of networking events, it's like everybody gets dolled up and they're all cute and it's like sales, everyone's just selling themselves. That's not what this group is. This group is about cultivating community of like-minded thinkers so that you're plugging in with people who are in the trenches doing this work as well. Because one of the things I realized early on in my entrepreneurial endeavor was if you're not having conversations with other entrepreneurs or other executives or other leaders, you aren't getting information that's going to support your long-term growth and evolution. And here's what I mean when I say that. When you are talking to somebody who doesn't understand what it means when you have to leverage your second mortgage to make payroll because of your sales cycle, right? So you have $100,000 payroll that's due on Monday. You have a sales cycle. You have that business line of credit, or you have that second mortgage on your home, or you have that, credit card, whatever it is. because as an entrepreneur, you know, there are cycles to business and there are deadlines, and, you know, maybe it's to buy product, maybe it's payroll, whatever it is, but you have to feel supported and connected with people who understand you are taking a risk. Being an entrepreneur is a risk. And especially if you have employees or teams of people or contractors underneath you, they are relying on you for their livelihood. So it's being an entrepreneur has this weight and pressure on it. You know, your clients are expecting a certain level of you, whether you're in the service industry or product. There might be investments you have to make before the sales hit your bank account. And I know a lot of people might argue with me on this, but I watched it in my own businesses. You know, we have rental properties, and there are certain things that we have to bite the bullet on, put on our credit card or whatever, because a renter blew a pipe and there's no money in that bank account. So it's going on my credit card and I'm going to make up for it down the line. Like, that's the risk of being an entrepreneur. Same thing with payroll. My husband does fire mitigation. So we are always under government contracting. There are months where the government, you know, we're waiting 60 or 90 days to get paid from the government, but we've got 20, 25 guys with equipment down on fire. Well, I'm not going to be like, oh, sorry, guys, I'm waiting to get paid so I can pay you. Like, no, it's my responsibility as the entrepreneur to have the ability to leverage debt, to move money around so that I can pay my people stay happy, or I can order my product. I can fix my pipes, like whatever it is, right? Maybe your computer breaks down. It could be super simple, but you got to have this understanding of like this long-term vision. And so I think you have to get into spaces where people are in that frame of mindset where they're understanding, they're thinking with you, and they've also maybe experienced something and they're like, hey, actually, here's how I did it. Here's an idea for you. Hey, actually, you know, my uncle's in business and I heard he did this. Do you want me to connect him with you so y'all could have a conversation about how he navigated this? You know, I mean, Nigel and I have had, you know, audits happen, lawsuits happen. The payroll thing is a very real example, which, you know, I'm like, we're trying to navigate it. We're trying to do better. Like every year we're trying to do better. We're trying to learn. You know, our first year out, we were like, oh shit, this is a big problem. How are we going to fill this gap? And that's entrepreneurship, learning in the moment, learning how to be creative, learning how to pivot. And if you're not getting into rooms and having conversations with people in real time who are also doing the same thing, it might look differently, but they're doing the same thing. And they might know somebody who can help you. So the concept of the hub isn't necessarily just to come in and let's all like, oh, we're business owners and aren't we so cute? And like, look, I got my nails done and look at my branding photo. Isn't it so good? It's like, no shit, guys. I'm in the fucking trenches this month. How can you help me see the way out? Can you help me find that path? And maybe they can't, but maybe they know somebody who can. So it's not just about getting good coaching from Karissa or coming and selling yourself or sitting in a room where other people are selling yourself. This group is actually about, we're in the trenches, we are together in the trenches, and we are going to help each other. And I've watched people in this group connect each other for new job opportunities, new client engagement opportunities, better website development, better social media understanding. Like, I have watched people get curious about each other and help each other and actually show up and be like, hey sis, I want you to win too. Like, I want to win, but I also want you to win. Like, how can I help you? And there's a vibration that happens when we're plugging in and we're refilling our batteries in these types of conversations, in these types of connections. And it's like, yo, I made a really shitty investment. I'm ass backwards. Does anybody see the way out? You know, or I'm struggling with this employee. Does anyone see the path of least resistance here? Or, you know what, I really need a really good contract attorney. Does anyone know a good contract attorney? Like, there is so much benefit to the hub. And it's like, I just get on these calls and I get so ignited by the women who do show up. There's a handful of women that show up live, which is amazing. There's a handful of women who are like, listen, I just need to listen to it like a podcast. And they paid, they joined, and they're just watching the recording. So the hub is available whether or not you can be there in person. You get the information, you get to be part of the conversation. And I think that that's so valuable. Now, the most exciting thing that is happening with the hub that I'm like, it has been a dream of mine. And I think that this is something that we're all craving as a society. We're going to be meeting in person. I think we're going to meet quarterly. We might meet more than that, but I'm super stoked because April 25th, we are going to be having our first in-person connection. And it's going to be pretty informal. It's totally free. It's happening in Portland, Oregon, just south of Portland in Milwaukee at Freeman Barrel House. My good friend who has owned multiple bars and restaurant type places. She has this beautiful space and she's generously opened it up to us to come. She has the most bomb mocktails I've ever had, like legit. If you're not a drinker, there's a mocktail for you. She also has just regular old water. She has delicious cocktails, charcuterie boards, and then there's a Thai restaurant next door where you can order food. Very informal from 5 to 8 p.m. We're going to just come together. I'm going to be there, obviously. I'm hoping majority of my local community is going to show up as well. I hope that you will consider joining us if you are in the Portland metro area. If you're not in the Portland metro area, no problem. You can join our monthly hub calls because those are all held over Zoom. But I'm really excited for this in-person thing because I really think that one of the shifts that I'm seeing as a society, I think people are less and less online, which I'm excited about. I mean, I know I am less and less online. And I think that there's a lot of really awesome businesses that don't have an online presence. Like my husband, for example, you know, he's been in business for over 20 years and really has zero social media presence. He really doesn't do a ton of email marketing, and he makes multiple 7 figures a year in business, and he has just built it from the ground up, and it's all based on building relationships, connection, community, word of mouth. I mean, people know of him and his business because he just put his head down and built this community. So what I want to do with these in-person hub events is really who is in our local community that I can support, because I think it's super easy to go onto Amazon and order on Amazon. But what I want to start doing, what I'm committed to in 2024, is to really be more intentional about who's in my local community that I can connect with and support, not only through my purchasing, but like just recommending. Like I want to get to know people in our local community. So I would encourage you, no matter where you are in the world, to start paying more attention to who's in your local community. Who can you be connected to? Who can you support? Because I think that we really are better together. And I think the more we can plug in, the less alone we feel. So the concept of the hub and these monthly calls is like not being alone in business, because it can get really dicey. You know, I have this coaching business that I usually am coming into my basement, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays to work on, to meet with clients, to do podcasts, to show up on social media. You know, I have somebody who is a contractor who works for me, and, you know, I'm like, oh my God, we have to get out of my house. I want to meet you somewhere in the real world. And so I think it's important, especially if you work at home and you work alone, to make sure that you're plugging into community. And so whether that's getting curious about what's in your local community or joining the hub, there's a place for you to feel connected, to feel secure, to feel validated, to get permission to try things, to take some risks, to be bold in business. So I'm so excited to continue to grow and expand on the hub. The really cool part about the hub as well is if you're a private one-on-one client of mine, you get immediate access to the hub. So all of my private clients are dropped in and free to benefit from all the hub and the experiences in there. Now, for those of you who are not in the local Portland area, I want to just make sure that you stay connected because I'm going to have some really fun and unique business opportunities that will be in person starting this fall. And I can't tell you much more than that, but what I can say is that I don't think anyone else is doing what I'm about to do. And I'm so stoked about it. So really excited. I'm really, I want to build this community. So maybe you're listening right now, you're not an entrepreneur. Maybe you know somebody. If you could share this episode with them, my entire goal is to grow female founders, female executives, entrepreneurs, women in business. I want us to be connected. I want you to know that you're not alone in business. I want to know you. I want to support you. And I know that there's someone in my community who wants to know you and wants to support you. So please make sure to share this episode with your fellow friends, entrepreneurs, or executives. If you're curious about the hub and you want to learn more, please feel free to reach out on any social media platform or email me at hello@karissadean.com. If you've never joined the hub, I'm dropping people in one time for free. You're welcome to join the conversation. And then if you want to join that community, we can go from there. And again, April 25th, very excited for this in-person event. It is free. And if you want more details about that, make sure to join me on social media. Or if you're not yet subscribed to my email, make sure you're getting that and you can join on my website. I think that's all for today, you guys. I'm so excited. I really hope that you get empowered to get connected, especially, even if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're a mom, if you're a wife, if you're a friend, if you're a daughter, I don't care who you are, we all need community and we all need to be surrounded by like-minded thinkers. So if you're not in a room with somebody who's having a conversation that you want to be a part of, seek it out and make it a priority for your life. I promise you will feel better. You're going to feel validated. You're going to feel like you have permission to explore more of who you are, and then you get to create. All right, y'all, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you on the next episode.